In this video, we will see India's stances on foreign policies based on some recent events or news articles in news. Now, topics like international relation are highly dynamic and it surrounds some ever evolving topics in geopolitics context. In this video, we will cover such a topic in a dimension which covers effect of policies and politics of developed and developing countries on India's interest, which will give you an insight for examination preparation. The article recently came in the news says Bay of Bengal, India's strategic anchor for Shanti and cooperative maritime security. Shanti framework includes securing holistic advancement through norms, trust, and integrity. Now, before beginning a deep analysis on this Shanti framework, we need to know India's foreign policy has been a paradigm shift from maritime security to maritime governance based on the Bay of Bengal in the center stage. Now we would need to find why Bay of Bengal finds so much importance in this news. Because of its geographical location, Bay of Bengal connects South Asia to Southeast Asia and in a broader picture, the Indo-Pacific, which has been news for a long time. Now its littoral states including India, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Thailand, even including the landlocked states like Nepal, Bhutan, are the regional framework key partner. Critical sea lines for energy trade and connectivity makes Bay of Bengal a gateway to greater Indo-Pacific region. Since the area is vulnerable to climatic activities like cyclones, floods, trafficking, piracy, terrorism in geopolitical significance, it finds a very relevant point in recent geographical changes or geopolitical stances. Now, Bay of Bengal can become the operational theater where India converts the Shanti's normative vision into practical regional cooperation. Moving on, Shanti's vision, we could find its fundamental pillars through the provisions of Shanti. Now, the first, norms and strengthening rule based international order. It will promote the greater respect for UN Charter and strengthening international law like UNCLOS. Also, it will respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity. It will be an opposition to selective application of international rules. Now, why norms will be important? It will be some sort of defense to contemporary international systems where we could face wars, geopolitical conflict, unilateral actions, erosions, and selective interpretation of international law. Next, we could find trust are rebuilding multilateral cooperations. Now, India's approach here will be a dialogue over confrontation, strengthen multilateral cooperation, build confidence among the stakeholders, encourage consensus building solution, reduced any sort of polarization. India's diplomatic advantage will be India's attempt to position itself as a country capable of speaking all different geopolitical camps simultaneously, like including US, Europe, Russia, then Global South, and developed countries, including US, Europe, Russia, Global South, and developing countries. Now, if we could find the next, it will be integrity. Now, integrity will promote credible and responsible multilateralism. It could amplify, apply rules consistently, be transparent, accountable, avoid double standardness, maintain credibility. Next is what the voice of Global South, for which India always remain vocal. Now, The issue India is likely to emphasize here will be developed finance, food and energy security, climate finance, technology access, debt vulnerability, counter terrorism, capacity building, and sustainable development. Moving on to the next pillar, we could find reformed and effective UN peacekeeping. Here we could say India has contributed nearly 3 lakh personnel to around 50 UN peacekeeping missions since UN's inception and continues to have thousands of personnel deployed in UN mission. Now through Shanti, India could advocate better equipped peacekeepers, realistic mandates, greater use of technology, improved safety for peacekeepers, greater participation of women in peacekeeping. Now, in the final and next pillar, we could find maritime security, where particularly relevant to Bay of Bengal article, India wants the UNSC to give greater attention to a free, open, and rule based maritime order. This could focus freedom and safety of navigation, safety of seafarers, protection of critical sea lanes, combating piracy, countering maritime terrorism, and tackling trafficking and smuggling. Next, in the seventh foundational pillar, we could find counter-terrorism and terror financing, where India seeks strong international cooperation against terrorist organizations, terror financing, terror network, and any sort of radicalizations through cross-border terrorism. In the very final and last pillar, we could find the climate aspect through addressing climate change as a security issue. Because we have earlier mentioned, the region is highly prone to several climate change events, natural disaster, food insecurity, water insecurity, energy insecurity, and climate driven displacement. Now, particularly focusing on Bay of Bengal, we could see cyclones, sea level rise, coastal erosion, salination, displacement. Therefore, India's maritime security approach can combine security along with climate resilience with disaster management and incorporating blue economy. Now, before understanding the challenges or the issues it might face, we need to think that what has been India's stances in this region over the years. We can clearly see India's foreign policy find this region as a opportunity for its diplomacy since post 1990s because India's increasingly shifted a predominantly continental outlook towards maritime engagement. Since then, we have found 1997 a BIMSTEC establishment which incorporated not the littoral states but also the landlocked countries like Nepal, Bhutan, that could act as together an institutional bridge between South and Southeast Asia. Now, moving forward to 2015, India approached through Sagar initiative, which highlighted the Indian Ocean region through security, growth, and capacity building opportunities. Now, in 2018, its Indo Pacific vision reflected through the shift from Look East policy to Act East policy. It always demanded free, open, inclusive, rules based regional order. And finally, when COVID struck throughout the world in 2020s, India approached Sagar initiative to the upgraded version Mahasagar initiative, which acted not only Indian Ocean region but also incorporating its greater wider impact through Indo-Pacific region also. Hence, it became wider and more holistic maritime cooperation. With linkage to that, India now proposing the Shanti UNSC campaign, where India seeks to connect its regional experiences with broader global governance. Hence, we repeatedly say India's stance has been maritime security shifting towards maritime governance. Now, the challenges we need to highlight in this region to roll out these Shanti conservations or Shanti stances. We could clearly see that the challenges are highlighting China's strategic presence in this region. Now, what could be that? China infrastructure and economic infrastructural stances projects. This could include its debt trap policy, which has been relevant in this region, potential dual port infrastructure concern, risks to strategic competition spilling into the bay, because we can see India has been the gateway, or we can say the Bay of Bengal has been the gateway towards the Indo Pacific region. Hence, the entire South China Sea, its BRI policies, Necopalt policies, everything will come under the concern. Next, fragmented regional politics will highlight the regional instability, like in Myanmar, India Bangladesh political economic uncertainties, and several strategic preferences among BIMSTEC members. Next, in maritime non traditional threats, we could find illegal, unreported, unregulated fishing, drug trafficking, human trafficking, arms smuggling, piracy, maritime terrorism. Talking about climatic vulnerability, we have time and again emphasized several climate events like cyclone, sea level rise, coastal erosion, climate induced displacement. Finally, if we mention a weak regional institutionalization, we can highlight BIMSTEC SARC as historically suffered from slow implementation, limited institutional capability, induced funding, and connective gaps. Now, highlighting all these challenges with historical perspective, also, we need to find some better way forwards to utilize this opportunity. The first one will be build an integrated maritime domain awareness network to connect coastal guards with navies, ports, satellites, satellite images, information fusion corridor. India's Information Fusion Center, Indian Ocean Region, like IFC IOR, can support wider information sharing and maritime awareness. Then, regional HDR architecture. India's stance to any disaster response always remain respond first policy, impacting neighborhood first policy. BIMSTEC disaster response grid with pre-positioned relief supply, common protocol to joint exercises reflects human adjusted disaster response. Then, if we talk about blue economic participation, India need to focus on sustainable fisheries, marine biotechnology, renewable offshore energy, ocean research, marine pollution control. Now, through connectivity, India has been always vocal to fill the gap of connectivity, overcoming the geographical barriers. In this case, we must highlight Kaladan multimodal project, India, Myanmar, Thailand connectivity projects. This will enhance India's infrastructural stances. Now, on the next, rules based maritime order, we could promote UNCLOS laws, freedom of free navigation, safety of navigations and seafarers, protecting of sea lanes. In the next, we could say a inclusive diplomatic stance through consultation rather than domination, capacity building rather than diplomacy. Now, in the final stances, we could highlight link with regional action with Shanti. Now, here, India's stances will be like how India in UNSC candidature to advocate maritime security with climate security with counter-terrorism, incorporating Global South voice and responsible technology governance. Now, in the end, we could say the Bay of Bengal is not only merely a maritime frontier but a bridge between South and Southeast Asia. It could act by integrating Shanti's vision of norms, trust, and integrity with Sagar, BIMSTEC, and rules based Indo Pacific. India can transform the region from a zone of strategic contention into a hub of operative security, connectivity, and sustainable development. Like for such in-depth analysis of several international relation topics, please follow the in-depth series. Thank you for your patience. See you in the next episode.